Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Hope you all are well, and thank you for joining me. Can I have a sound check? Make sure we have sound, so I'm not talking to myself. We have someone new here. Quran WHR. Assalamu alaikum, looking forward to the stream. Jazakallah khair, very nice, good to see you. What's the WHR stand for? Sounds good, thank you. And Muhammad Hassan, salam to you as well. Parrot Boy, as always, with us. Alhamdulillah. Perfect Da'wah, mashallah. Assalamu alaikum, Perfect Da'wah. Thank you for joining. I don't know if anybody's heard of Perfect Da'wah, very nice gentleman guy. All right, let me get started so that, because, today's presentation is longer than I normally wanted to have it done, because I mentioned this also in that post that the streams are meant and to invite people to come on to share their insights into the Quran, anything that they have. It's supposed to be that sort of thing. And my contribution in the beginning is I'm just trying to sort of model it, get sort of the ball rolling, that sort of thing. So it's not my intention to make these very long presentations. I think I did that when we talked about the Taghut in the Quran. Stretched over 2 streams, and I think one of them was maybe too long. So I want to reduce that a little bit. Okay, but let's get on with this stream now. So bear with me. I'm not going to be able to see the comments while I'm doing this, of course. I'll check out the comments afterwards. First thing, I just want to make a quick announcement because I've now had 2 copyright strikes on this channel. I'm just worried that it might be closed if I get another one. And also want to be able to put up some more translations of Hassan and Malik and others. So what I'm going to start to do is I'm going to start another channel, and I'm going to back up a lot of the subtitle stuff, the reused content into that channel, and any new translations I do, I'll put it on that channel, and then maybe I can move this channel forward in a different way. We're going to be reviewing these streams because we've been doing them almost for a year now, right? So when it comes to Ramadan, it would have been 1 year, and I said we'll do these weekly, and then after Ramadan, sort of we'll review how they went and see maybe if we'll change the format or do something different. But anyway, let's get on with what we want to talk about today, which is the issue of the ambiguous verses when it comes to the idea that the Quran is clear, right? So what do we mean when we say the Quran is clear, and the verses where the Quran is saying it's clear, it's this word mubin, right? Saying that the Quran, it's ayat, it's ayat or mubin, okay, ayatun mubayyinat, clarifying, that sort of thing. We talk about this thing, but at the same time, that the Quran is all mubin in its own language, but itself it divides its verses into some verses are muhkamat and some are mutashabihat. So how does that work? How is it going to be that some verses are mutashabihat, which we say it's called ambiguous? If we use the English words ambiguous and then say it's also mubin and use the English word clear, that doesn't go together in English. We can't say something is clear and ambiguous. It doesn't work, right? So, I'm not going to go too deeply into what the word mubin means here. I just want to tackle the idea of the mutashabihat. We spoke about it briefly last time because, the stream wasn't working very well. My presentation wasn't working. And but now, hopefully I'll be able to put a bit more into this. So what are the mutashabihat? What are the verses what mutashabihat? And more importantly, why are they there? Why does the Quran have verses which are mutashabihat? What we say are ambiguous. So the main verse which talks about these is of course this verse in Surah Al-Imran. It says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم هو الذي أنزل عليك الكتاب منه آيات محكمات هن أم الكتاب وأخرى متشابهات. He is the one who sent down upon you the book. Of it are ayat muhkamat, of it are verses which are sort of decisive, muhkamat, something you can take judgments from. Okay, hunna ummul kitab, they are the mother of the book. وأخرى متشابهات, and then there are others which are mutashabihat, we can say ambiguous for now, right? And then it proceeds to talk about the response of people to this fact that the Quran, that the book which has been sent down to the Prophet is like that. So it says, فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ زَيْغٌ فَيَتَّبِعُونَ مَا تَشَابَهَ مِنْهُ ابْتِغَاءَ الْفِتْنَةِ وَابْتِغَاءَ تَأْوِيلِهِ. Okay. As for those in whose hearts is a zayg, sort of a turning away, a deviation from something, and moving towards something else. فَيَتَّبِعُونَ مَا تَشَابَهَ مِنْهُ. They consistently follow, they keep following it. فَيَتَّبِعُونَ مَا تَشَابَهَ. They follow the mutashabih minhu, seeking by the fitna, ابتغاء الفتنة, وابتغاء تأويله, and seeking its interpretation. وَمَا يَعْلَمُ تَأْوِيلَهُ إِلَّا اللَّهُ وَالرَّاسِخُونَ فِي الْعِلْمِ. Now you could continue that. It says, and none knows its meanings except God. And you could say there's a full stop there. Or you could continue to say, and none knows its meanings, its interpretation except God and those who are firm in knowledge. وَالرَّاسِخُونَ فِي الْعِلْمِ يَقُولُونَ, they say, آمَنَّا بِهِ, we have faith in it. It's all from the presence of our Lord, مِنْ عِنْدِ رَبِّنَا. وَمَا يَتَذَكَّرَ إِلَّا أُولُو الْبَابِ. And none remembers or takes reminder, admonition, or dhikr except those of inner cause, ulul albab, those of understanding. So I've put it here in this translation. It is He who revealed to you the book. Some of its verses are definitive, muhkamat. They are the foundation of the book, literally mother of the book. And others are unspecific or ambiguous, mutashabihat. So two responses are given to the presence of this mixture of muhkamat and mutashabihat in the Quran. As for those in whose hearts is deviation, literally a turning aside, zayr, they follow what is mutashabih of it, seeking descent, fitna, and seeking its interpretation, its ta'wil. Okay, now what the word ta'wil, it comes from the word awwal, right? First or one. It's about taking the meanings back to their first meanings. Taking something which is said back to its primary meaning. Let me just switch off my phone. But none knows its interpretation, its ta'wil, except God, and those firmly rooted in knowledge say, we believe in it all. In it all is all of it is from our Lord. But none recollects except those with understanding, literally inner cores. Ulul albab. The lub of something is like its inner core, the lub, like of a fruit or of those like nuts. You have the lub inside. Okay, so mutashabih, what does that mean? The word mutashabih comes from shabah. Okay, the word shabah, to be similar or almost the same as something else. So what does that mean for a verse to be mutashabih then? And why are there even any verses which are mutashabih in the Quran? What purpose do they serve? For a verse to be mutashabih, it means that it can be read to mean one thing, and it can also be read to mean something else. So that it has that shabah between what the meanings are intended. Why? Because the verse itself is worded in that way. It's worded in a mutashabih way. If meaning X was meant, then it could have been said in that and worded in that way. But also, if meaning Y was meant, it could also have been worded in that same way. So in that way, there's a shabah. It's mutashabih, right? You have one wording, okay, and we could have, the meaning behind it could have been this, and we worded it that way, or it could have been something else, and we worded it that same way, right? So that means that's mutashabih, and it could be more than just two ways. Of course, it could be 3, 4, multiple ways. Okay, the mutashabih verses. So the wording itself is mutashabih, and so the English word ambiguous it covers it quite well. When we say something's ambiguous, a statement which is ambiguous. When something is ambiguous, it can have more than one meaning or refer to more than one subject. Okay, an example here is, if you say, I saw John in my car. Okay, who was in the car? It's not clear, it's ambiguous. You could think that John was in the car or I was in the car. I saw John in my car. Who was in the car? It's not clear. Both ways can be read. Okay, that's what we mean by ambiguous. Okay, now you could say, okay, it's clear in terms of the wording and what it means, and maybe that's what the Quran means when it says it's ayat al-mubin. All right, I mean, each of these words, this statement is still in the end clearly understandable. But the mutashabih part of it is where does it fit? How do we bring the ta'wil of it? Okay, what's the ta'wil of this? It's clear, but what is its ta'wil? Its ta'wil is mutashabih. Okay, why? Why are there mutashabih verses and ambiguous verses in the Quran? Well, firstly, we need to take a step back and remember something that despite what Pop Islam preaches, what the majority of Muslims have learned and sort of absorb and repeat all the time, the Quran is not a perfect book of guidance. It's not supposed to be that. Okay, the Quran is not a book of perfect guidance. If it was, anybody who read it would become a Muslim or will become guided. That's not its purpose. Okay, it wasn't meant to be like that. It wasn't intended to be like that. Okay, had God wanted, as He says in the Quran, He would have sent down just one verse, and it would have made everybody's necks bent in humility. That's not the purpose of the Quran. Okay, the Quran is not this perfect book, which is a sort of overwhelming miracle. Okay, nor is it even at the absolute. God wasn't aiming for that the highest of eloquence, even of it. How people think that the miracle of the Quran is its eloquence and stuff like that. No, Quran could have been much more eloquent if God had wanted. All right, the Quran is meant to fit into this world. It's meant to fit into the purpose of this world and the purpose of this world and its purpose. And this world and its purpose is to sift mankind, to test them. Okay, it goes into that, right? It is a book of signs, not miracles. Okay, and just like the signs that it constantly points to in nature, it also mirrors this world, and that's why it's always linking itself to the natural world. Okay, it fits into it. Okay, there are those who will be able to deny the signs which are in the world, in the natural world, and there are those who will also be able to deny the signs which are in the Quran. Okay, it mirrors that. It mirrors this world. They mirror each other. Okay, just as they mirror God's purpose for this world. Okay, so the world is not perfect, right? But the world is perfect for what it was intended to be. Okay, the reason why did God create the world this way? It's for His reasons, for His hikmah, for His reasons for creating the world the way it is. It is perfect for that. It's not perfect for how we would want it. Okay, and the same way, okay, the Quran is perfect for what it's supposed to be, what God wants it to achieve in this world. And part of it is to polarize people, and we'll talk about that soon. So the Quran will play its role in this world, and like the signs in the world, it is for those who ponder and think. Those of inner cause. It's mentioned at the end of that verse. Ulul albab, ma yatadhakkaru illa ulul albab. None takes dhikr or reminder except those who have inner cause. They have that inner part of themselves, that inner part of their humanity is intact. Okay, hasn't been defiled. Okay, so the Quran will not guide everyone. It just won't, nor is it meant to. In fact, quite the opposite. Okay, it will increase the disease of those in whose hearts there is a disease. That's one of the functions of the Quran. The Quran is meant to do that. It's meant to make the people who in whose hearts are certain diseases. It will increase them in those diseases, right? And it will not increase oppressors except in loss. It will increase them in loss. Okay, for the believers, it's a cure to what's in the hearts, right? It will warn those who are alive, but he who is dead, there's no response. And I mean that no response, literally. You'll find those who have zero response to the Quran, either loving it or hating it. You can say that they're, inwardly they're quite dead, right? But the Quran is the way it is. It's supposed to be. I mean, no book is simultaneously. I've written it here. It's no book in the world, I think, is simultaneously more loved by those who love it, and at the same time hated by those who hate it than the Quran, right? And that's the way it should be. That's one of its signs. It polarizes. Okay, it's going to sift. Okay, because in the end, that's what God is doing in this world. He's sifting. Okay. فريق هدى وفريق حق عليهم الضلالة. A portion have been guided, and a portion the truth of their dalal has come upon them, right? And that's why it will polarize, just like in the akhirah and next life, things will be polarized. Some in heaven, some in hell. It's polarizing. So the Quran fits that. It's meant to help do that. But all of that is another issue. But it just needs reminding in brief. Okay. So going back to this verse, okay, let's go back to this. So part of what the mutashabihat will do is to help that come about. It will help that sorting out by the response of people to it. Right? So you can read these again, but let's move on. So again, those in whose hearts there is a deviation, this is the part I want to focus on. Turning aside, they will follow what is mutashabih of it, seeking descent, fitna, and seeking its interpretation. It's lagging a bit. So let me skip this part of what the believers will think. So the purpose. So I don't know why it's lagging quite out. So what's one of the purpose of the ambiguous verses? The ambiguous will help mark out those in whose heart there is this deviation, okay, or this inclination to certain things. They will be marked out by it. They will be marked out and known by their reactions, and their response to the muhkamat and the mutashabihat. How will they deal with this? How will they deal with this presence of the mutashabihat and the muhkamat? Okay, this will bring out something which is in their heart. It will make what that zayr which is in their heart come out, and you will see it come out in the way they produce fitna in the world, and constantly seek to impose their ideas and their interpretations. So instead of holding fast to the muhkamat, to those certain things, and uniting themselves and others upon them, what they do is they seek out the mutashabihat and make them central, okay, and create a fitna for others by means of them, attempting to impose their interpretations, for example. So thus that swerve, that deviation that is in their hearts comes out, okay? That God complex that some of them will have is brought out, okay? What is inside becomes manifest. While on the other hand, it's just juxtaposed with those who have firm knowledge, those who are firm and grounded in knowledge, and perhaps, those who possess, true inner human cause, they know, a lot of them might know the interpretations, literally the ta'wil, they're taking the meanings back to their origin. They might know the ta'wil of these mutashabihat, right? They might know some of them at least, to varying degrees, though, maybe not all of them know all of the interpretations of the mutashabihat, right? But still, the point is that even if they didn't know, if these people who are firm in knowledge, if they don't know the interpretations of any of them, they will still submit to that about themselves. They will submit to not knowing, submit that they might be wrong and they might not know. They will submit to, فوق كل ذي علم عليم, above every possessor of knowledge, there is one who is more knowledgeable. Okay, and so they act in humility towards others and themselves, and still have faith. Okay, they might hold on to these interpretations which they know, they believe are true and are right, but they do so with a sense of humility. Okay, it's not with a sense of creating fitna or of trying to sort of like push down those interpretations on others. Okay, this is even though they have this firm knowledge. Okay, or you can say it from another angle, because they act that way, they are considered to be those of firm knowledge, راسخون في العلم. Because being firm in knowledge here is knowing your place. It's knowing where to stop. It's being firm in the clear knowledge, right? There's the muhkamat. The muhkamat they are what will create that firmness, ground you in real knowledge. الراسخون في العلم, okay? They are rasikhun because they make the muhkamat central. Okay, the Ummul Kitab, that's central. And they allow all the other things to go back towards them. So it is knowing the muhkamat and their primacy over the mutashabihat, over the ambiguous, not allowing the even correct interpretation of the ambiguous to become central. So, these people, they say what they say even about the interpretations that they know are correct. They don't create fitna by them, they don't force them on others, they don't make an issue of them. Okay, even if those with knowledge were to tell the interpretations, the correct interpretations, to those who have this zayr, this deviation in their hearts, which is a zayr away from recognizing their own limitations and humanity, and towards this God complex, and speaking and acting in God's name, right? So even if they are told, even if these deviants, quote unquote, are told the correct interpretations, it wouldn't matter, because the problem is the disease in their hearts. That's the problem. That's what the mutashabihat are bringing out. That's the problem, the disease in their heart that causes them to primarily follow the mutashabihat in order to seek out fitna and in order to seek out their interpretations. They would continue to do that no matter what. No matter what. So they create fitna by insisting to others that they and they alone know the true interpretations, or by making the pursuit of their interpretations central, thus forgetting and waysiding the muhkamat. And whether they have ambiguous interpretations right or not, they still create fitna with them, still force it on others. They still argue about them rather than focusing on what is clear and enough. They're focusing on what unites people, on the basic, simple, easy, accessible foundations. The things which are known to all of humanity the world over, right? Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, don't murder. Be good to parents, kind to orphans, give in charity, be humble, speak the truth. Keep your word. Return what's entrusted to you. These simple things, okay? These simple things which are known the world over, but they're not enough for these people. These people have this zayr in their hearts. They're like, everybody knows that. They want to do something special. They want to feel special. They want to show others that they have a special knowledge, and they want to then insist that others follow them. Okay, and they bring it, and that's that. In that way, they are following the mutashabihat. Trying to latch onto things that will make them feel special and above others. Okay, and then of course that becomes this sort of like almost like a taghut, right? This sort of overbearing personality, right? Of pushing and speaking in God's name. Okay, that kind of God complex. So through their insistence, they then muddy the waters for others. They muddy what is already clear for others. So for others who are there with the muhkamat, all right, they through their interpretations and seeking the mutashabihat, they start to muddy the very clear things for those who are on the muhkamat, right? So how many people come to Islam, right? Maybe they convert to Islam, and they convert knowing the muhkamat, like raha fi din, there's no compulsion in religion, right? Yet after some time with these people, right, where these people have zayr in their hearts, they end up 2 years later, that those muhkamat are out of the window, right? Instead now it is this interpretation of this verse and this verse, the mutashabihat, to try to say no, we kill apostates, we kill those who insult the messengers, who insult Allah, etc. Okay, so through their insistence, they muddy the waters for others. They muddy what is already clear. Whether their interpretations are right or wrong, they still create this fitna born of the diseased hearts. All right, so muhkamat. Let's think about the muhkamat themselves, because that's one of the most important things. So first of all, the various forms of Islam, are all traditions in which different Quranic verses and hadith texts are essentially ranked and ordered. That's what happens in all of the sects of Islam, right? They take the hadiths and the Quran and they start to rank. Things are ranked differently. A lot of times, unfortunately, the hadith are put above the Quran, and they sort of like they abrogate verses of the Quran, or they interpret the Quran, etc. Okay, those that are ranked lower are interpreted in the light of those that are ranked higher. That's how you know what's interpreting what, right? So the Quran is universally lower because it's interpreted by the hadiths. So the hadiths are higher. That's what's happening in most sects. And in a way, since those which are lower are interpreted in the light of what is higher, it means that those which are lower can be deducted or deduced from those which are higher. All right. So now forget about what the sects do. Let's think about in terms of you have the muhkamat, which are ummul kitab. Yeah. So that means they are higher in the Quranic framework. The muhkamat are higher than the mutashabihat. Okay, what does that mean? It means that the mutashabihat, those which are lower, can be deducted or deduced from the higher ones, which are ummul kitab. Okay, so in essence, the lower develops from the higher, and it grows or it grows in its shadow, within its boundaries, okay, within the boundaries of the muhkamat. Or to put it another way, right, as in the way the Quran sort of says it, the higher gives birth to the lower. So that's why the muhkamat are ummul kitab, the mother of the book. So they give birth to the rest of the book. Okay, these muhkamat, they give birth to the rest of the book. Okay, and if the rest of the book, if the Quran is divided into muhkamat and mutashabihat, what does that mean? It means the muhkamat give birth to the mutashabihat. Right, they give birth to the mutashabihat. They are under them. And then that's what the Quran means, okay, by these muhkamat, they're being the mother of the book. If they are the mother of the book, then the other verses, the mutashabihat, are emanations from the muhkamat. They are the children. Okay, so one of the most important things that needs to be done in sort of in the Quranic realignment of Islam, for us who are sort of Quran-centric Muslims, one of the most important things is to identify what are the muhkamat. That's a project that sort of needs to be done, by anybody who's sort of like thinking about these topics. Okay, what are the muhkamat in the Quran? They need to be known, they need to be identified, and it's not difficult. Okay, they're not difficult to identify at all because they are clear, universal, and unequivocal statements. Okay, the job then becomes to always refer disputes regarding the mutashabihat back to the muhkamat. Okay, and that way you can be one of the rasikhuna fil ilm, those who are firm in knowledge. But a question then comes up. Okay, is that the only thing that the mutashabihat are good for? Are they really just to tempt or to give some slack or some rope to those who have delusions of grandeur, which is then used for them to hang themselves with? Is that why the mutashabihat are there, just to be sort of like a fitna for those people who have this deviation in their hearts? Is that the only reason the muhkamat are there, the mutashabihat are there? And the only way that the other people use them is to ignore them in favor of the muhkamat? No, I mean the mutashabihat do have a purpose. You can still take a lot of guidance from the mutashabihat, but it takes knowledge and insight. Okay, the mutashabihat are what will give Islam a huge outreach and spread. An outpouring of various wisdoms that are adaptable to many circumstances and in many cultures, because they're worded in that way. They're worded by one who is knowledgeable. Okay, we're talking about the great mind, all right, the mind of the universe, God Himself. Okay, He's worded them in that way, with a future view. Okay, so I can reference here the stream which I made about God's shadow, when I discussed that verse about the verse which talks about the shadow. All right, and I said, okay, this is an allegory about God's shadow, about God creating, how God created the world. All right, so that's something that's seen. It's a verse which is mutashabih. Okay, so you can take these kind of wisdoms from them. And also my other video, God's End Game, of course, it's looking at some of these verses in certain ways, taking different wisdom. But the point is that seeing, getting all of these insights and pieces of wisdom and adaptations of the mutashabihat, they are not to become central in a way that you start pushing them or forcing them or creating a fitna with them. Okay, we should never lose sight of the primacy of the muhkamat, especially in dealing with others. Okay, so just like every child should also look like its parents, so in that way also the mutashabihat, which can be taken to have more than one meaning, should have their meanings during disputes identified and returned to and linked in some way to their mothers, to the muhkamat. And so you can identify them. You can see which verses, which mutashabihat belong to which muhkamat in a certain way. Okay, then that doesn't mean the variety and wisdom and the versatility provided by the mutashabihat should be lost or set aside. What it means is that in disputes, the muhkamat should always be given primacy. Okay, it should always be given primacy. So let me, I want to give here a few examples of what I would say are muhkamat and their children. So a very, very simple one, very easy one. In Surah Al-Baqarah 190, fight in the way of God against those who fight you, but do not aggress. Okay, why? Why not aggress? Because Inna Allah la yuhibbul mu'tadin. Truly, God does not love those who aggress. Okay, what God loves isn't going to change. So this is a blanket statement. It's muhkam. Okay, that's definitely a muhkam verse. What are its children? Its children are all other verses which deal in fighting. They go under that umbrella. They go under the umbrella. They follow on from that. Okay, so if any of these other verses of fighting seem unclear, you have to take their meanings back, their ta'wil, to their first meaning, to the first thing, to their to their mother, which is, fight in the way of God against those who fight you, but do not aggress, because God does not love those who aggress. Okay, under that verse comes all the other verses about fighting. Okay, they are the children, that is the mother. Another example, a muhkam is, of course, the famous verse, لا إكراه في الدين. Okay, there's no compulsion in religion. Why? قد تبين الرشد من الغي. You know, right way is clear from wrong way. So that's it. So then why should there be compulsion in religion when it's all clear? So the children of this verse, this is a muhkam verse, the children of it are all of those verses which speak about the deen, okay, like ikrah fi deen, and about freedom in religion, about ikrah, okay, about trying to force people to have views or anything like that. All the other verses in the Quran which talk about these subjects, they fall under this. They fall under this muhkam verse. Another example, this one is more like a sort of a jurisprudence one. حُرِّمَتْ عَلَيْكُمْ, who was made forbidden for you in marriage. Your mothers, your daughters, etc. Okay, it goes on. Okay, then it says, and in the next verse, verse 24, and permitted for you to marry all other women. Okay, so it's telling us those who are it's haram to marry. And that's a muhkam. So everything else which comes after that, and the other verses which talk about who you can marry, who you can't, they can consider them mutashabihat. Okay, like the verses which talk about don't marry the mushrikeen until they believe, and a servant who is a slave who is a believer is better than a mushrika, even if you like her, etc. Those verses, they all fall under this. My view is that these, those verses, they clearly tell you who you can and can't marry, and that's it. Marriage to others, the other verses are not the rule, the foundational rule. This is the foundational rule about who you can and can't marry. Okay, you can marry anybody apart from these, blood relations and stuff. Okay, so all of the verses that talk about who you can marry, they fall under this. That is the muhkam. That is the The other verses they fall after that. And right after this verse, you have the verse which talks about, and whoever isn't able to marry free women, then from what their right hand possesses, and then it continues. So marry them with the permission of their families, etc., etc. And then towards the end of the verse, it's a concession for those who fear hardship. Sorry for all the typos. And so, what does that mean? It means all of those verses which talk about relations with the malakat aymanukum, what your right hand possesses, these are the children. They fall under this muhkam verse, okay, which is telling us marry those whom your right hand possesses. Okay, and it's I've written a post on this. I don't want to make this longer than it needs to be, but the point is, this is the muhkam verse. All the other verses which talk about what people are calling sex slaves and concubinage and all of that, no, it falls into this. Okay, they have to be married. Okay, marry them by the permission of their thing. This is a concession. Okay, the concession is that you marry them. Okay, so how can there be? You're going to tell me now. You can have sex with them. Outside of marriage. No, it's not that. It's not that. All right. Okay. So that's basically what I wanted to show. End of my thing. I think I did all right. Didn't make it go for too long. Only half an hour. Not too bad. All right. Okay. So let me have a look at some of the chat. It says I didn't say. I don't know if you're talking about what we were just talking about. Saying it's not so hard to understand, but people don't have time. That's about it. So I guess you're having some other discussion about that. Okay. Anybody have anything on the chat they want to say? Before I bring on, I've got Mezud here. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it. You have to make sure I'm pronouncing your name properly, right? Mezud, right? Anybody have anything else on the chat? All right, let's bring on Mezud. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello.
Walaikum assalam. How are you?
Salamun alaikum. Can you hear me right?
I'm very good. Alhamdulillah. Yes, I can hear you.
Great. I hope you're well.
I'm good. Alhamdulillah.
Okay, great. I just would like to contribute on this issue because this passage is, I worked on this passage a lot, so I would like to share my thoughts with you because
Yes, go for it.
I believe that this passage is completely misunderstood. Let me explain why. First of all, we call mutashabihat ambiguous. I mean, linguistically, This is impossible. I checked this word and the root of this word in Quran. It only means similarity or likeness, nothing else. I mean, anybody can do this. Likeness, similarity.
Yeah.
Another term that we need to understand properly is fitna. I would like to thank Sam Garens for this because in the previous program, I told you that I've gone over a lot of translations, like 2025. Sam Garens seems to have got this right. Fitna in Quran means means of denial. You can check his translation. Means of denial, nothing else. And the verb form is basically subjecting someone to means of denial. Ittaqa, for example. Oh, sorry, not ittaqa, but fitna, fatana, for example. Means of denial. It doesn't mean anything else. You can check this out. Now, what is muhkam? Okay. Again, I believe Sam Garans got this right, but I just have an input on this. In his translation, he translated this as explicit. Okay, to me, explicit is clear, means clear. Okay, understandable. But I would like to call this manifest. Okay, muhkam to me means manifest. I would like to give you an manifest sign in this book. Okay, chapter 16, 10, 11, 12. Okay, this is what I understand from this book. It says, He it is who sends down water from sky. You have from it drink, from it are shrubs upon which you pasture your herbs. He causes to grow for you thereby crops, and the olive and the date palms, and every sort of fruit. In that is an ayat, which he translates as proof, but to me it's sign. In that is a sign for people who reflect. This is a muhkam sign. This is something that you can take a look around yourself after you read this book. I mean, that's how it happened for me. That's why I believe in this book. I looked around, I looked at the world, I looked the muhkam ayats of this book. Okay, the muhkam ayats of this book is things that anybody can see, anybody can perceive, and think and ponder upon them. Okay, for example, 12. He made serviceable to you the night and the day, and the sun and the moon and the stars are made serviceable by his command. In that are signs for people who reason. This is a muhkam sign. Okay, this is something that you can see. It's a clear, explicit.
So
I
let me
call it
just
manifest
make sure I'm
sign.
understanding. Yeah, let me make sure I'm understanding. So you're saying that the verses which are muhkamat in the Quran, those are the
Yeah.
verses which are speaking about the sort of the natural signs which you can see outside, which
Yes,
anybody can see.
things anybody can see, anybody can
Mm,
perceive, anybody can take a look at it. Okay,
mm,
it's very. I mean, there are lots of verses like this in Quran, right? Just look at the, for example, I'll try to remember some of them. Look at the camel, how he created it, things like this.
mm,
Okay, things that you can see when you
yeah.
read this book, you can take a look around yourself and you can see them because they're manifest. I call it manifest. Manifest means in English obvious to the eye and mind. Okay,
Mm,
for example, why do we believe in this book? Why? Because we read this book. Well, that's how it happened for me. I don't know how it happened for others, but it's very simple for me. I read this book. I looked at the manifest proofs of this book. These are the manifest proofs. You look around yourself. You think about this life. This book tells you that it's created by God. You are here for a purpose, right? This is why I believed in this book.
mm,
This book told me that there is a God created all of the things around me, and all of the purpose of this life is a test, right? That's that's how I believed in this book,
yeah.
right? Now,
Mm,
I mean, these are signs. Look at these verses. You will see these are ayats. They are muhkam ayats. Now, what does mutashabihat means? Mutashabihat means likeness, like similarities. But what are the likenesses? I would like to ask you a question, a very simple question. Do you exactly know, reading this book, how Jannat and Jahannam is like? Can you know
No.
this? No. Why? Only God knows, right?
Hmm.
Only God knows. Now, tell me, for something that we cannot perceive, okay, we have never seen, we cannot understand, even understand, because only God knows its reality. How do you think God can describe these Jannah and Jahannam to us? How? Only,
Well,
only, just I would like to
hmm.
give you a simple answer. Only by giving expressions with likeness to the things that you can perceive. Food for thought, a very simple thing. How would you
Hmm.
describe snow to somebody who has never seen snow? How would you do this?
Yeah, understand.
How would you do this? Very simple. You say to this guy, it falls from the sky. It's white light flakes. It falls. It lies on the ground. But you
Yeah,
would
I'd say it's like
never
sand.
expect this person to grasp the reality of it, because
Hmm.
you know what it really is, but the other person doesn't know. For me, I mean, I've been working on this Quran for like 8 years now.
Hmm.
Mutashabihat.
So, I mean,
All
what do you say? You mentioned about the people in trying to understand paradise with,
yes. For example, all the
but I just
descriptions
want to
of
mention something. I just want to mention
yeah,
something because
yeah.
one of the very early verses in the Quran talks about how those in paradise will actually say how whenever they're given sustenance, they will say this is like what we were given before, right? So how would you? Because then it looks like they on in paradise will be do, and even the word is used as mutashabih, right? وَأُتُوا بِهِ مُتَشَابِهًا,
Yes. What
right?
I
So the
think
people in paradise will say that the rizq that they're being given there, كل ما, what's the verse? كلما
it's like
رزقوا منها من ثمرة
but
رزقا
is it the
قالوا
same?
هذا الذي رزقنا من قبل وأتوا به متشابها.
Yes.
Whenever they are
Is it
given
the
fruits
same?
or fruit.
My question is this: are they the same? Is it the
Well,
same what you are given in paradise and what you are given in
no,
world?
no, I mean it's just similar. It's they are mutashabih, right? So they are saying that what the people in paradise are saying
It's
what
not
they're
the same.
receiving
It's
is
mutashabihat, right?
mutashabih.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's mutashabih,
It's
exactly. Yeah,
that's exactly my point.
yeah,
It's
that's what I'm saying.
like it, but it's not the same. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say. It's
yeah,
not the same. Okay, it's like it. Okay,
yeah.
one of the points that I catch this is the verse that you're talking about. The
Mm,
mutashabihat is exactly mentioned there when the people in paradise were talking. Okay,
mm.
I mean, just
Yeah,
think
I
about it.
understand.
How only God knows how Jannah and Jahannam, the gardens, the hell is like, right? We
Mm,
can never know. And how do we expect God to explain to us something that we cannot perceive? We cannot understand what it's like. Very simple.
mm.
By
Yes.
similar things to what you can perceive in this world, right? This is mutashabiyat. This is likeness. This is similarities. One
So
question.
do you divide all of the verses in the Quran to mutashabih and muhkamat? Or do you
Yeah.
think there are some
Now,
mutashabih, some muhkamat, and then there are some others as well?
yeah.
Like there's another category
I
as well.
will when I come to my last point, you will completely understand what I'm trying to say.
Hmm.
Gaib is only known by God, right? Gaib,
Yeah.
according to Quran. How do you expect God to explain to you Gaib? Gaib, Gaib. Everything about Gaib is
Explain to you what?
explained
Gaib?
by mutashabihat.
I don't
Okay,
understand.
what
Gaib? What's that
Gaib?
word you're saying? Gaib?
Uh, okay,
Ghaib.
for
All right,
example,
ghaib. Sorry, my bad. Yes, ghaib. Yes. Yeah, the
Gaib.
unseen. Yes. Yeah, yeah, the
Yeah, yeah,
unseen. Yes.
Gaib. Guide for us. God is guide for us. Guide, right? We don't know how he's like. We just don't know. Creation of the world is for us
Yes, that's
guide. Creation of man for us guide. Angels guide. The hour, judgment day, hell and gardens, paradise. All of these are guide. We only know about those things because God gives us some descriptions in this book by mutashabihat with likeness to what we can perceive in this world. Look, I don't know if anybody says this, but I'm 100% sure this is what this book is saying. Mutashabihat only known by God. And the ta'wil of mutashabihat, this is again completely misunderstood. What does ta'wil of mutashabihat means? Ta'wil is not interpretation. Please take a look at all the verses where ta'wil is mentioned. A very simple check. You will see that ta'wil is basically coming true of an event that is only known by God. That is only known by God. I can give you an example if you want. Very simple example. Very simple. Let me find a verse where ta'wil means exactly coming true of an event. Just a minute. I would like, yes. Al-Araf, chapter 7, 53. Await they save the fulfillment thereof. The day, I mean, Sam Garen's
هل ينظرون
translated
إلا
it
تأويله.
fulfillment.
Yeah,
Yeah. يوم يأتي تاويله يقول الذين نسوه من قبل. Sorry for my Arabic, it's not
it's
very
fine,
good.
it's fine.
But the day, the fulfillment thereof, what I call manifestation thereof comes, those who had forgotten it before will say, the messengers of our Lord brought the truth. This is the coming true of the judgment day, right? This verse is coming true of the judgment day. Look at the word ta'wil. It means coming true realization or manifestation of the judgment day. This is not interpretation. It's impossible. Look at everywhere where ta'wil is used. For example,
What about in Surah Yusuf? What do you think of
yeah,
that?
very
And
simple. Yusuf,
yeah,
again, a very good example. Chapter 12. Okay. Yusuf says, I saw that I was, sorry, one of them says, okay, he's trying to, people call it interpret, okay, a dream. I don't call it interpret. Yusuf cannot interpret anything. He is a messenger. He gets this information from God, right? Do we agree on this? He gets this information from God. For example,
what do you mean? Sorry,
one
say
of
again.
them says what they saw in their dream. I saw that I was pressing wine. Okay. The other said, I saw that I was carrying upon my head bread whereof the birds were eating. Now, what does Yusuf say? Okay. As for the one of you, he will pour for his Lord wine. Right? Yusuf
Yeah.
tells them what's gonna happen. This is not interpretation. Okay, what's gonna happen? How does Yusuf know
But how
this?
does he know? How does he know what's going to happen if not by interpreting the
Okay,
dream?
because God knows. God knows. Yusuf gets this message only from God. Okay, Yusuf cannot interpret on himself. Okay, because only God knows what's gonna happen in the future. Only God knows. Nobody else can know. I mean, do we agree on this? Nobody else can know what's going to happen in the future. I don't know. Only God knows. That's how I believe it. Right? Right? What's going to
Well,
happen
yeah.
in
I
the
mean,
future?
I mean,
Or
I
what's going
mean
to happen
here,
tomorrow to you and to me? I don't know. I just
yeah.
only
I mean
God knows.
here, I mean here. I would say that the dream. Where does the dream come from? Comes from God, right?
Yes,
So
the
the dream
dream
itself
comes
comes.
from God.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and
The
then what
dream.
Yusuf was given was ويعلمهم تأويل الأحاديث. He was taught the interpretation of
Look,
events, hadith,
about
and
it.
things.
Think
So
about it. Just
yeah,
for a minute. Interpretation. What is interpretation? Interpretation. I want to give you interpretation is an act of explaining, okay, reframing or otherwise showing your own understanding of something. Your own understanding. Here, okay, here
that's not
it's
how it put it. I mean, look, I think of it more in India. I'm thinking it in my mind more like in Arabic. The Arabic ta'wil, it comes from, it's like returning something to its awwal, to its first.
Original.
So it's
Original.
original, exactly. So
Original, right?
returning,
Returning something.
return
Exactly my
something
point.
to its original
Exactly.
meaning. To its
Exactly
original.
my
So
point.
that
I would like
ta'wil.
to give you an example.
Hmm.
God talks about the judgment day, right? That's going to happen. That's
Yeah.
going to happen. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. The
Hmm.
ta'wil of it is the time when it happens.
Hmm.
Okay, the ta'wil. I mean, ta'wil is not interpretation. The ta'wil of it is when it happens. It happens, and the ta'wil of it, that means the ta'wil of it has come. I can give you an example. Uh, just a minute. Ta'wil of it. Okay. For example, if you look at the chapter 753, are they waiting for the ta'wil of it? Right? That
Hmm.
means ta'wil. What ta'wil of what? Ta'wil of what? Can you tell me?
I mean, I would say it means it's realization here.
Yes, exactly. That's my point. Realization,
They're
right?
waiting
For
for
example,
are they
look
waiting
again.
for its realization?
Just yes, realization.
Okay,
Look, ta'wil.
but a
The root
realization
is
of
yes, exactly. My point is this. Very simple. Think about it. Ta'wil is returning something to back to its original, right? God
yeah,
describes you
the
something.
actual
Yeah, yeah. The okay. God describes you something. Okay, that's gonna happen on the day of judgment. That's how it's gonna happen. How it's gonna happen. But it's only described by mutashabiyat. Don't forget this. Mutashabiyat. They are all mutashabiyat. Mutashabiyat. And then when they happen, that means that what God is exactly saying, exactly the original, will happen because the original is only known by God. You don't know it. I don't know it.
Okay, one more question. Let me just ask you because
Sure.
I like what you're saying. I like it that you thought about this very deeply. And what
Yeah.
do you say of the of its use in Surah Al-Kahf? So, for example, at the end of the story of Musa and that
Yeah.
man, where now this is something in the past now. So
Again.
it's
No,
not
no,
like
no, no.
just
Again.
hold on.
Again.
Let me
Sure,
phrase
sure.
my question so then you can
What
answer
I
it
understand from
in
this
what
verse is
time.
this Abd who's with Musa, he says that okay, for example, I damaged that ship, right? Because there was something was gonna happen, right? Look, something was gonna happen. Something that was gonna happen. The table of it, something that will happen in the future from that point.
But isn't the ta'wil is of what he did, what that man did. So
No,
no, so that man
no.
is given the
Tawil
sort of
is
the interpretation. Let's
yeah,
just let me I don't know what other word to use,
yeah.
but he's given that ta'wil of what he did and why he did what he did.
Okay. My
He's
understanding
saying
is
this
this:
is why
when
I
he
did that
asked, yes,
because
yes,
he's saying you weren't able to be patient with what I did, right? So
exactly,
now I'm giving
because
you now because we're going to separate. I'm going to give you the ta'wil of what I did,
yes, what I
why I did
think
what I did.
this Abd that is with Musa is an angel. Okay,
Hmm.
what I understand from the surah, he's an
Hmm.
angel, not a simple person. Okay,
Hmm.
he's an angel, or he or she, of course. I'm not saying it. He takes this
They.
information. They, sorry, he or takes this information directly from God. Okay, because he says at the end, I'll try to. I don't do it on my own, right? He says something like this. I don't do it on my own. I do all of this because of God, right? He says something
Hmm.
like this, right? That's what
Yeah.
I am. That, what, oh, okay, who acts in accordance with God's orders without any, without any problem, according to the Quran? The only angels, right? Angels do whatever they are told to do, right?
There's an interesting thing about that story of Musa and this person. Okay,
Yep.
because if you look at there's three incidents, right?
Right.
And the way he says about I wanted, okay, it changes. In the first one, he says فَأَرَدْتُ, I wanted to do
Hmm.
this, right? So he's saying I wanted to. In the
Then he
second
said,
one, it
"We,
says فَأَرَدْنَا, we
yeah,
wanted.
we
The
want."
last one, it says فَأَرَادَ رَبُّكَ, your Lord wanted.
Yes.
There's a progression there, and you know,
Yes.
it's actually because I know about these things because I have a Sufi background. This was
Yeah.
actually taken to mean that the shedding of the ego, that this whole story was
Mhm.
about sort of the spiritual development, like your own desires. You know,
Could
your
be.
own will. You have to break your own desires and that sort of stuff. But
Could
yeah,
be.
I should just want to just mention that because
Could be.
it does say at the beginning that it was him by his will he wanted to do this. Then it says faradna, we wanted,
Yeah.
and then at the end of it farada rabbuk, and your Lord wanted
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
end.
But again, in Quran, you know that God uses I, we
Hmm.
when He describes things, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't always use I. No.
Hmm.
Sometimes He says we. Why does He
Hmm.
say we? Why do you think He says we?
I think he uses we because even though of course we say God is one,
Yeah.
I think it's beyond one in terms of numbers.
Well, okay, that could be. But when okay, you were given this example. He says I, we. That's what I'm trying to say.
Hmm.
It's from God in any case. Okay, even
Yeah.
this is an angel. It's from God. That's
Hmm.
all. Even if
Yeah.
he uses we or I, it doesn't matter. For me,
Hmm.
it's from God.
Yeah.
And this abd is basically he's able to see or he's able to know what's going to happen, the will of it, because God knows what's going to happen. You
Yeah.
see my point? He's directly connected with God, something like
Yeah.
this. Okay,
No,
we now
understood.
know how it happens, but will for me is basically coming true of an event only God knows. Okay, I call it manifestation of it. I mean, in an appropriate time of yours, please go over all of these and think about it. Okay, I spent a lot of time thinking over these verses. Okay, this is the conclusion really that I came to. Ta'wil does not mean
Hmm.
interpretation. No, no. It's
Hmm.
something only God knows. Look at all the
Hmm.
verses. Look at what's going to happen or what's happening. There are things first only God knows. Only.
Hmm.
Then
No.
he can let the angel know and get it done. It's okay. But again,
Hmm.
I call it manifestation. Okay, this
Yeah.
is my
Okay.
rendering.
No,
Manifest.
brilliant. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on and sharing about
Thank
that.
you.
Mashallah,
Now,
you've thought a lot about this stuff. Excellent.
yeah. Now, I would like to add something else. Fitna.
Go ahead.
Again, fitna needs to be understood properly. I would like to thank Sam Garens for this. Fitna
Hmm.
means means of denial. Okay.
Hmm.
A way for somebody to deny this book. Okay. A way
Hmm.
for somebody to deny the truth. God. Okay.
Hmm.
To deny the truth. I would call it. Now, when you look at this verse with this mentality, okay, he it is who sent down upon thee the book, right? Among it, among it are manifest proofs. Manifest, okay? Clear things that you can see. Look at Quran and you can see these proofs. You can see,
Yeah.
okay? Like the example that I try to give, and now, for example, the bee. And they're the foundation of law. Yeah, they're the foundation of book. Yes, because we need to read this book. We need to look at the muhkam signs of this book. We need to ponder upon them. That's why we believe in this book. That's because it's the mother of the book. Yes, because that's how
Hmm.
I believed in this book. Let me put it that way. How I believed in this
Yeah.
book. Okay,
Hmm.
while the others are likenesses. Okay, likenesses, I call them likeness, or you can say similarities, because it's also a figure of speech. Likeness, similitude, for example, in English, also used in that sense. Similitude, maybe similitude would would be much more appropriate, because similitude is also used as a figure of speech. Okay, it's coming
Hmm.
from similarity, similitude, similarity. Then, as for those whose hearts is crookedness, okay. Now, you need to understand this one. This one is very important. فَيَتَّبِعُونَ مَا تَشَابَهَ مِنْهُ. Right?
Yeah.
ابتغاء الفتنة وابتغاء تأويله. Now, you need to understand this. They pursue what is likeness thereof. Okay, seeking means of denial, seeking its manifestation. I will explain. Okay, people who denies this book, and there are instances in the Quran, you will see those verses. I'll try to give you some example. If somebody doesn't believe in this book and tells you, okay, tells you, show me God, okay, show me God, can you?
Yeah.
No, no.
No.
Show me Jannah and Jahannam. Show me. Show me how God created
Yeah.
human. Can you show it? No. They are
No.
seeking the manifestation of mutashabiyat. Okay? Manifestation of it. Show me God means God describes himself in this book by mutashabihat ayats. Okay, mutashabihat. God is all knowing. Okay? All knowing. How? This is only a likeness to what you perceive. Okay, knowing is something that you know. Okay, you can perceive. Okay, there is something knowing all of the things. You either accept this or not. But can you show the manifestation of it? Can you show it to somebody? You cannot.
Yeah.
It's impossible. Okay, it's impossible. That's why I would like to give you some examples of the people that is pursuing the likeness thereof, seeking the means of denial, seeking its interpretation. Here are the
Yes. Go
verses.
ahead.
Yes, I will. Let me just, I also have a presentation for this. I'm trying to open it. Okay.
All right. Okay. Can
Oh,
you? I don't know if I can get you to
yeah. I mean,
share
I'm
your
ready
screen.
to, okay.
Can you share
If you want, I
your
can share this.
screen?
Yes. I'll try to share it. This is the first time I'm sharing something. Share screen. Can you
Yeah.
see
I'm
my,
happy. I'll be
can you see me?
nothing yet. And no, we don't see anything yet.
Can you see my screen now?
Nope. I'm putting you side by side now. So, but no, I can't see your screen. We just see your
I'm trying, but
face. That's
again,
it.
let
No
me.
problem. It's fine. If you're not sure how to do
Uh,
it, you can
I
just
can.
walk us through it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll also try to share this presentation with you, but I would like to give you examples from the Quran. All of my proofs are from Quran. Okay, I'm not just making this up. Chapter 770. Bring thou upon us what thou promisest us. Okay. Bring it. Bring it. Okay. The messenger tells them, if you don't do this, that's gonna happen. Okay, you're gonna be punished. You're gonna go to hell. Okay, they say, bring upon us what thou promisest us. This is, this is basically people seeking the means of denial. They would like to deny this truth. They are denying, and they're asking the messenger to bring, to manifest what he's saying, right?
Yep.
Manifest it. Show it to us. Second one, chapter 11, 12. Or, and an angel had but come with him. An angel. Okay, bring an angel to us. Angels are described as mutashabihat. We don't know what they are. We just don't know. They are seeking the manifestation of mutashabihat. Okay. O Musa, chapter 255. O Musa, we will not believe thee until we see God plainly. Okay? They say, show us the God. Show us. Okay? Show us. Are they seeking the manifestation of something? Are they? Yes, they are. They are
Yep.
seeking manifestation of the God described in this book. They say, show me. Or 25:7. Or that an angel were but sent down to him to be a warner with him. Or a treasure were but sent to him. Or there were for him but a garden from which he ate. You know, the messenger talks about gardens, right? I mean, Jannah
Yep.
means garden, right? Okay, let's show us something. Okay, you're saying those things. Okay, but show us something. We don't believe in it. Because how and when mutashabihat will come through their manifestation, basically, all the things described by mutashabihat is gaib. Okay, These are the things only known by God, only known. Nobody can show or prove the manifestation of these things to deniers. There's just no way of doing this. There's just no way. Nobody can do this. I cannot do this. If anybody can do it, right. I mean, let him do it. And what do those establishing knowledge, okay, do? What we do, we as believers. But we always say we believe in it. It's all from our Lord. Very simple. I believe in Jannah and Jahannam, right? You
Yep.
also believe in them, right? Can you show
Yep.
the manifestation of them? No.
No.
Have you seen them? No. Why do you believe in them?
No.
Because it is all from our Lord. We believe in it. Okay? It's all from my God. The God that I learned, the God that I believed in this book. It's all from God. Okay? That's all.
Yep.
Okay.
I understand. I think I've understood very well how you're reading that, and I think it fits very well.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well, that's why we, the believers, we also believe the mutashabiyat, and we do not seek the manifestation of them. I'm not seeking the manifestation of Jannah or Jahannam. I just believe in it. Okay? I'm not asking anybody to show me Jannah, Jahannam. I'm not asking anybody to show me how God created humans. I don't need it because I believe it. I believe in it. Right? I mean, that's all of us actually. We just believe in them. We are not seeking the manifestation. We are not seeking the means of denial. We are not trying to deny this book by asking or seeking the manifestation of the things that God describes. Okay, that's how you believe in this book. There's
Do,
just
do
no
you
other
think
way.
do you think the central thing of what you're saying is the intention to seek a means of denial?
Exactly. By asking for the manifestation of the things that God described by mutashabiyat. Jannah, Jahannam, creation, himself. Okay, these are all mutashabih. There is just no way. These are as a figure of speech. These are described by
So I
likenesses
mean,
to what we can
what
perceive.
I'm yeah, what
Your
I'm
your
thinking
your
of
voice.
is, for example, the sorry,
Yeah, your
yeah, you're
voice is
cutting
kind
off a
of.
little bit. But what I was going to
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
is how you. Yeah, I was going to ask is how then do you read the? I mean, there's nobody else wanting to come on, so we can keep talking.
Yeah.
How do you read then the story of Ibrahim and the birds? Do you take that to be more figuratively, right?
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
He didn't really ask for the, as you would say, the manifestation of
Well,
that
well, he.
thing.
I mean, you're talking about Ibrahim looking at the stars, right?
No,
Is
no, no,
this
no. Ibrahim
no?
and the birds. The birds.
Ah, the birds. Okay, this is
Mm.
figurative. No, no, no. This is not like he's not cutting, or it's not like physical cutting or something. It's figurative.
No, I mean because he's asking, "Arini kayfa tuhil mauta," show me how you bring um,
Yeah.
the dead to
It's
life. You're talking. What is that? What is he asking there?
okay. What is asking there? He, as a human being. Okay, it's very simple. If I mean, I'm not. I will never be. You will never be. But if I was chosen by God as a messenger, I also would like to see, because I'm the one in contact with God, right? I
Hmm.
also would love to see something manifest. Look, we are all human beings, right? We are curious. We are, because we cannot see God exactly. We cannot see the you know exactly how all of these things are happening. Only God
Hmm.
knows, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he could have asked, right? I mean, just to how do I say this? To feel a little
Yeah.
bit more comfortable in his faith.
Yeah. Because all he says,
Yeah,
"ولكن
yes, yeah,
ليطمئن قلبي," right?
yeah,
To
exactly.
make my heart
That's he just wanted to feel a little
um,
bit sure in his heart. So it
sort of like
it's not
tranquil.
very
No,
very.
so yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The key
tranquility.
thing is to not
Right.
want to seek. It's not seeking. It's not seeking.
No, no, no,
As you
no.
say,
It's
it's not
not. See,
seeking a way
no,
to
no, no,
deny
no,
it.
no, no. He's not.
That the
He's
key. No, I know it's not for Ibrahim, but I'm just want to highlight that because
yeah,
so the key thing is the intention behind it.
yeah.
So those mentioned in the verse
Yeah.
of Al Imran verse 7. they're blamed for wanting to seek a way to deny. Right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
that intention. All right, I get
Exactly.
it. I get it.
So
Very
what
nice.
I mean, the only thing that I can say is this:
Hmm.
Ghaib and Shahada, right? This is what we have in this Quran. Ghaib and Shahada.
Hmm.
Okay, there are two things. Ghaib is only known by Ghaib is only known by God, but
Mhm.
Shahada, what we can see, what we can perceive, we can also know this, right?
That's right.
Everything in this book about Ghaib is explained by Mutashabiyat. That's what I'm saying. Okay,
Hmm.
everything about Shahada, the area, Shahada area, let me call it, because there is Ghaib and Shahada. The Shahada area is Muhkam. You see my point? I mean, Shahada has to be Muhkam.
Yeah.
Shahada are the things that I can see, I can feel, I can touch, right? These are the Muhkam ones. Muhkam. Muhkam means this, obvious to your eye, obvious to your mind. But Ghaib, is it obvious to your eye and obvious to your mind? No. No, it's not. Because only God knows. Only God knows. We
Hmm.
cannot do. We cannot know. And God somehow explained to us all the mutashabiyat by likenesses to what we can perceive in Shahada. That's basically what I understand
Yeah.
really from
All
this
right.
passage.
All right. Brilliant. Thank you so much for
Okay,
sharing
thank
all of
you.
that. That's
Thank you.
brilliant.
Thank you.
Excellent to have you. All
Thank you.
right. Assalamu
Take care
alaikum,
of yourself.
Mirza. You
Thank
too.
you. Thank
Jazakallah
you. Bye
khair
bye.
for
Cheers.
coming
Bye
on.
bye. Bye bye.
Sana. All right. Let me just highlight some of the things in the chat. Let me just quickly check over and then go on it and help attend to the baby, right? Perfect Dawah. If anybody has seen him, he's got a channel. He tries to speak to a lot of like um, Muslims and ex-Muslims, etc. He said he's got he does a stream also today, so he was going to come on here and speak with us, but we are clashing our times. Maybe if I have time after finishing this, maybe I'll go and speak with him on his stream. We're not working on someone. I'm gonna have to end it soon. Ziryab was with us. He said to me that brings exoteric dimension amongst Islamic groups. They exemplify this intellectual culture of hypocrisy and trying to be specific, to be special with secret information. Yeah, this happens a lot with the within sort of the Sufi groups in a way. I'm just highlight a few more. Ziryab has another comment here from mentioning Samir Islambuli. He has this idea that the muhkamat verses are those which do not accept any discussion, such as Surah Al-Ikhlas, but the mutashabihat accept discussion and different interpretations. Yeah, it's pretty similar to what he said, to what I said. Let me see what I think. Anything else in the chat? The chat have disappeared. Green. It's all freezing up for some reason. Okay, here we go. We're back. Player. Okay. All right. I think that's basically it. I can't see any sort of standalone comments. I had an interesting perspective at why God called himself we. Let's have a look at this. That is possibly because of the fact that God created all things in pairs. Okay, I don't get that much, to be honest. My friend Quran WRH. It says here we have muhkamat singular in 4720, and it's obvious that precise, specific, exact is a good translation. It comes from hukum, which is a logic, and muhkamat are ayat made out of logic. Okay. All right, pretty good. All right. For those who have just joined, I can see now that the numbers have sort of increased a little bit. There's 8 people viewing. If you'd like, once the stream is finished, you can go back and listen to the presentation where I was just talking about the mutashabihat and the muhkamat and why the mutashabihat are there. And also, if you continue listening, you'll see our friend Mezu here. He brought another very nice viewpoint into the mix. So if there's nobody else who wants to come on, I think I'll end it there. Assalamu alaikum. Good to see you. Test us, but I talked a little bit about that. Let me try. I talked a little bit about that in my long sort of video essay, the God's End Game. Why is God sort of in the end? Why does anybody test anybody? Right? Why would you test people? Why do when you want to when you have a job that needs to be done and you interview lots of people and you test them? Why do you do that? You want to find the best person for something. So I think that there's more coming after. It's not just going to be Jannah and that's it, right? That God is looking for people for another purpose. That there's the human project after after this world isn't just to for some to end in Jannah for all eternity and just enjoying themselves for all eternity, and other people to end up in hell and be there for all eternity, etc. I think there's more to come. There's a higher purpose. There's a purpose beyond paradise, a purpose beyond Jannah, and so that's what God is looking for. There's not much point in testing people for righteousness if that righteousness is not going to be put to use later, right? Put it that way. But I mean, have a look at my my sort of video essay on called God's End Game, and my view on that. Freezes up. I'm man here saying voice controlled Quran on cheap and Android TV boxes. All right, brilliant, excellent. Alhamdulillah, I'm glad Iron Man is still working on that, and good to have you. What is the evidence for a project after Jannah and the Quran? Well, I mean, I put in what I think is good enough evidence, but sometimes I mean, let me give you an example. Okay, this is sort of like more like an example, sort of like from experience, from something that's happened, sort of like in from somebody I know, basically. So in one of the Arab countries, okay, so the family of this friend of mine are basically they're getting by, so he's got his brothers. And his brothers are sort of like they did their education and they sort of like tried to get work and stuff, but they never got any good work, right? And they have a relative in Europe, in Spain to be exact. Okay, now that relative, the uncle, is actually well off. Okay, so it comes to my friend. Now my friend is fine, but his brother isn't really doing much in life. He doesn't. He's trying to like work in hotels and hospitality and stuff, but he's sort of like he doesn't want to work up the sort of like game over his name. He didn't tell him anything. He didn't say anything to him. He didn't do anything. just give it to him as a gift, right? And while he was there from Spain on vacation, he just sort of like not overtly, but sort of just seeing what is he doing with this money. So he went out, he bought a motorbike, leather jackets. He got he was very generous as well. He gave his friends, he bought gifts for his friends. He did a lot of that. But at the end of the thing, he sort of like commented to like, he said, look, I brought him all of this money. With that money, he could have done something with it. He could have actually started a business. He could have done something with it. Instead, he just sort of like wasted it, right? So part of that is sort of to figure out for yourself that why it's, if you're just going to tell them that if like a father has a bunch of kids, okay, and he just tells them, okay, I'm going to give each of you a business and see how you run it, and the one who's best will inherit the whole of the business. Say he's a multi-billionaire, right? And he says, okay, I'm going to give you son number one looks after this shop, this small business. Son number two looks after son number, and whoever does the best, I will let you inherit the thing. Well, that is sure, that's a test, but now they're sort of like more aware of it, aren't they? Even the one who would have been who later wouldn't care about the business, okay, and he just wants the money. For that brief period, he's going to be working hard to be given that, right? Whereas not saying anything, just letting them and seeing seeing whose character is the right one for the job. Who will actually work hard, who will work hard in this shop and not just say, okay, this is my father's shop, and he's a billionaire. I'm not going to bother, looking after the workers, or that's not what you want. So then keeping some, it's not ما كان الله ليطلقكم على الغيب, the Quran says, and it's not for God to reveal all the ghaib to you. He's not going to show you everything. He's not going to tell you everything about his plans, his purpose, and stuff. So this may be part of what you need to sort of figure out, right? I mean, you need to have, if you have a person of real faith and that God is, Hakim, La'ibin. We didn't create the heavens and the earth for play, right? And in that video, I talk about how you have this huge cosmos, huge, billions and billions, and what it's all going to be locked up and put away as soon as Judgment Day for humanity on this little speck comes along, and that's it. There's nothing more. No, all right. So you need to sort of like figure things out a little bit as well. That's part of the test. Part of sort of a test is knowing that you're in a test and seeing what you are being tested for, and having that viewpoint. Being intelligent, right? Being somebody who can figure things out. You don't need to be spoon fed, right? So God is looking for those pearls of humanity. This world is meant to sieve out for a purpose. There's a reason for it. So that's how I feel about it anyway. Okay, so I hope that helps a little bit. All right, I'm going to end this there. Jazakallah khair, and thank you everybody for coming on, and see you again next week. Take care. Is there anything else? Nobody has anything in the chat? All right, okay. I'll leave it there. Thank you again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh, and see you next week.